Okay, now let's talk about the state test. The district has had different results, some good, some bad. A lot of these tests we know are early, and they're sort of being tested on you guys, and and they keep changing. But how do you feel about the results so far, and is the district doing everything it can and should about that without overemphasizing them and cutting into the rest of the education?
Can I go first?
You can go first. I think it's your turn.
I'm a retired teacher, 31 years, and we are over-tested in Ohio. I am really handed up to here with the amount of testing that we do of kids, of teachers, a whole bit. We fluctuate between excellent and good. I know we are an excellent school district. It doesn't always get reflected in the test scores every year, but we know we are an excellent school district. Just look at the results as far as graduation and everything else. But we are over-tested. I've just about had enough of the testing in Ohio. I say that as an educator, as a parent, and as a school board member, and fewer tests, the better.
Cori?
The testing is a real hot topic right now, but I want to take a step back and talk about why the testing is in place, and it's because of the Common Core initiatives that were instituted. And I completely and wholly support the spirit that the Common Core was brought to the table. It was a collaboration of colleges, businesses, schools, educators to come up with a system of making sure that our students are graduating not only being book smart, but being common sense smart. Now, when you institute any new system, there has to be some sort of checks and balances to make sure that the initiatives are being met, that everybody's performing as they should be. And that's what the park testing was, that was the objective of the park testing. It's completely natural if anytime you are trying to teach something, you need to measure if it's, that's the same as a history teacher, social studies teacher who is telling his students to read chapter 1. You test them to make sure that they got it. But the bottom line is that the testing is necessary, but park failed. We've got air that we're going to be using in the future. They've got a foot in the schools already with testing, and the state actually just pushed down that they were going to be reducing testing. So we're on our way.
David, do you want to?
Teach more, test less. That's the bottom line. I think you should spend 5% of your time in assessment, evaluation, testing, and 95% of your time teaching, motivating, encouraging. That's what I did as a teacher. That's what I believe as a school board member.
Cori?
I think the state just pushed down, just decided just in the last couple of days it came out that they are actually reducing the testing, and it will only be 1 day of testing for the air tests.
Never mind the cost that's associated. You want to talk about cost reduction. Reducing the cost from all this testing is a way to find some money also.
I'm going to ask a follow-up question about teaching for the test. The question, and I think maybe the superintendent raised this when he spoke to the legislature, it's not just the hours of the test itself, but because you want to look good to
right.
people like me asking you questions in debates and to the media and to the voters, the schools often spend a lot of time teaching specifically test-taking skills as
Absolutely.
opposed to the Common Core skills themselves. Do you feel that the district's gone too far in that, done too little, or what? Yeah, I guess it would be your turn first.
Okay. These park tests, the teachers, the administration, they came into it knowing that these tests were tough. I remember sitting in a board meeting where the director of curriculum gave us some of the sample questions, and they were way above. They were thinking on some sort of level that we just could not grasp in that room. I think once the testing is, there's a learning curve there. These tests are gonna be a mess until we kind of figure our way through it. And I hate to say that we have to kind of suffer through it, but you know, I think you have to have the tests, and they have to learn how to create the tests, and the teachers, it'll all fall into place.
Okay, David?
Well, when you have a test and you get a good practice test and you have 5 school board members, all with college degrees, that look at it and say, what is the answer here? You know you've got a problem. There's too many, and they're written in such a way I really don't think they are really evaluating the kids appropriately. I've had enough of testing. I wish we would go back to trusting teachers and their grades and their input and their assessment. The art of teaching is getting lost, and it's all being driven by this test business, teaching to the test. You know, a great teacher, someone who can teach outside the test, outside those boundaries. And right now, it's just very focused. You got to have this question, you got to have this answer, you got to have this question, and that's not real education. That's not creative. That's not good for kids.
Cori?
Park failed, and so that confirms what Mr. Thurau just said, which was, you know, the educated people couldn't answer what would have been the simplest of questions. So, yeah, it was a mess, and it failed. But I'm not for teaching for the test, but testing is a necessity. It is the way that you measure progress and advancement from both the teachers and the students, making sure that everybody is where they need to be. Testing is a necessary evil.
You know, it's state law. It's not going away. I really wish parents would speak up, because educators, I think, are united on this. I know superintendents are. I wish parents would speak up and say, listen, we've had enough of this. Maybe they don't understand or see how much time is actually being spent on all these tests.
And that's a good point to make too, is that these tests, and the curriculum, these are being pushed down from the state. It's not something that our current board or any future board has any control over. They're mandated by the state. So we can have our opinions, either for or against, but ultimately, you know, we're doing what we're told.